Now, I wanted this day, I've been waiting for a while. I wanted to make this video because it's important that we distinguish what is a sport and what's not a sport. I hear a lot of people say, okay, if I did this and it wasn't a sport, I could really hurt you. And there's truth and validity to that. And then the person in the sport will say, okay, well, I'm in a sport. If I wanted to do the same thing to hurt you, I could do it too. Actually, you're right. And that's the point. We have to make a very, very clear distinction between when we are doing what we're doing for a sport and when we're doing what we're doing for real life combat. Now, there's a crossbreed in between. Of course, you still have to train with the same mentality and the same power, the same tools. But you do have to know when something that's going to be real is finite, when something that is based on judge, on a crowd, and it doesn't mean, and it doesn't take anything away from that. It just means that you know that there's a little bit more of a safety net. Not that it negates it, okay? A punch is a punch. But nonetheless, it's something separate. Okay, so if we were doing, let's say, mixed martial arts, okay? So I'm gonna try to stand here. We're in a hallway, by the way, and this is what you get in New York. Just move a little like this.
Yep.
Okay, when we're doing MMA, we're fighting, we're in a cage, we've been taught, we got our jab, I got my cross, we got our hook, liver shot, or our uppercut, and all of these tools, which they're tools, are going to be used similarly in the street. Now, what's the difference between this guy throwing this two, bam, to knock me out, and him doing this two to kill me? So if he's throwing a two, boom, 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 and he wants to knock me out, and it's a good chance that he could, but if he's doing it to kill me, to end my life, well, he's gonna come in with a little bit more ferocity and he's gonna give me everything that he has with that. But more importantly, what he does after I'm already knocked out is just as important, because there is no more boundaries here, okay? So that being said, when the guy throws a two in MMA, we try to parry it, which in Wing Chun, we have Pak Sao. We might roll with the punch, which is very viable. We might slip on that punch. And these are all little tools that can happen on that punch. But if this is the street and he's throwing that, well, I want to make sure that I hit him and punish him with as much ferocity before he lets anything out, okay? Now,
show that one more time. I think we kind of blocked that angle. So I think right there might be good.
Okay, so when he's throwing this punch, bam, I could parry it. And I'm not saying that in MMA you can't do boom, right? We hit each other, tick for tack type of deal. But what I'm saying is, in my mind, I have to already understand that when he throws this, I have to position myself in a place to do optimal damage fast. Not everybody has this MMA cardio. Not even MMA fighters have MMA cardio when you involve all the things that are involved in a fight. So when he comes in and I know he's coming in with that two and I'm gonna go throw it, I get into position and I wanna go through him. So the whole point is not just to hit him, but to go through him, because I'm not thinking that there's going to be another second or another minute in that round. I'm thinking his friends are gonna be coming soon. I'm thinking I might hit him, but it doesn't mean it's gonna knock him out. So I have to position myself for the next shot. So that being said, when he comes in, bam, I go in and I land a shot, but I can't just rest on my laurels. So I might keep on moving to land the next shot, the next shot, the next shot. But it doesn't mean that he's staying there. Remember, let's say he slips the same way I slipped. I go to throw, he throws his two, and I throw my two, but he slipped also. So he has this whole flank open, which means if I threw the shot, tick for tack, then I didn't position myself. He has the same shot available to him that I had available. And I use the word past tense, had. That's why it's important when you're gonna throw the shot and I know that I'm already moving into the shots that I know I want to throw. Because whether he slips it or he doesn't slip it, I'm going in there to a new position. So people ask, you know, what's this whole thing with position, right? You're sitting there, I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to move where my arm's length is. So I can touch him and he can touch me. All right. So if the objective is for me to touch him and him to touch me, awesome. We did something that everybody on planet Earth can do. But positionally, if he touches me, boom, and when I go to touch him, he leaves, he just created a new position. So he changed the game. It's nothing so crazy that I can't maneuver myself. But what it does is since he puts himself in a new position, psychologically has to make me work to get into that position, which already puts him in an advantage. Now, the difference would be that when he touch me, boom, and then I know that there's a possibility that he can move when I go to touch him. Oh, but look what I did. I also moved. So then, because I moved in advance, knowing that the possibility of him moving, I had two things going for me. If he didn't move, so he touches me, boom, I hit him. If he did move, boom, bam, I hit him. Because I had a contingency. So above everything, and I made a video with you a zillion years ago.
About position.
About position. Position, whether it's in fighting or in your relationships or in your career, is the most important thing. The most important thing, yes. I could be here as fast and as strong as I possibly can, but if I am not moving anywhere that's gaining the efforts that I need to gain for this, in this case, for fighting, it's useless, it's meaningless, okay? So now we have something else, or a basis to get this whole thing going. So now, there's such a thing as a guy like Torin, who's fast, who's strong, who's accurate. Sheesh, that might not give me the time that I need to move out of there, okay? So this is what, in real life, it ultimately always comes down to when we try to go around the corner, jump over the fence, open the door. Sometimes you just have to go through the wall. So if he punches me with that same punch, I don't have time, boom. I'm going to go through the wall. So what I'm gonna do is meet that force with my force. So if he's throwing 100% and I throw 100%, but I know that I'm going specifically for this, he gets 200% of the efforts, the power of both him and me in that one little baby hand. And once that hand explodes, boom, I got the one thing that I'm gonna touch on right now, and that if you have a plane has two wings. If you blow one of the wings out, there's a huge possibility that the plane could still make it, but it's on one wing, okay? And the same thing, he has two arms. These are his weapons. And when he throws that punch and I meet that, well, there goes that arm. Okay, he could be tough. He might be able to throw this, whoa. But he is in what most people forget, pain. Severe, horrible pain. Bones are broken, the tissues are broken, the nerve damage, it might ripple effect its way up to the wrist, and that pain and that inflammation changes everything. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish up this video because I wanted to just make sure that I partition or parse out these things that are very important for us to understand, because fighting is an art, and it takes a little bit more brains. Now, yes, you can put bronze over brain on a lot of things, but if we put in the basic principles like position, we have something of an advantage, okay? And then the second thing was to actually just meet it with force. Now, in Wing Chun, for example, we're gonna do Chisa.
Okay.
In Wing Chun, people see this and they go, and you put some Asian music in the background and you go, what is this?
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't blame you. Now, I just want you to understand, we would never ever fight like this. Okay. Just like in jujitsu, if you're just doing jujitsu, You would not implement an elbow to the cranial. You would not put a finger through the eyeball. You would not take your hand and rip out his larynx. There are rules. Because it's jujitsu, you follow the jujitsu rules. And just like in Wing Chun,
Yes.
in Chi Sao, there are Chi Sao rules. We would never fight like this. But just like jujitsu, what we're doing is called rolling hands, okay? So there's something, we're doing what's called Luke Sao. Okay? And Luke Sao, we're just swimming, man. We're just feeling each other's energy. We're not really doing anything structurally that's going to affect one another. But then there's the Chi Sao. And the Chi Sao, which involves and includes, obviously, knowing the form, like the first form in particular. I'm doing, in this case, I'm doing what's called a Jut Sao and a Bang Sao, okay? So I'm just gonna show Jut Sao and a Bang Sao. And then he feels that, he wants to throw this punch, and I Fuk Sao. And that allows me to go over to punch. So when you're looking at this, you think that it's easy and you can just simply overpower somebody. When you go from Luke Sao, I'm just gonna move naturally. So here's our Chi Sao. Whoa, I wanna hit him. He covers. Whoa, snap, I go under. Boom, I lop. Whoa, and then he covers. Boom. And we move. And what we're doing is we're continuing to find openings. So imagine a glass bottle and there's water in it, and then we crack that bottle and we crack the top, and the water will start to find the way because the water is just trying to find the way out. And so that's what these hands are doing, but they're doing it operationally. So then that was Luke Sao, Chi Sao, and then you have Gor Sao. Now Gor Sao is me wanting to hurt those weapons so that I can break down, like we were talking about with the plane. You get rid of the wings altogether, that plane's not going anywhere. Intentionally. So with Gor Sao, I am trying, see this? Transferring, whoa, transferring, boom, 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 bam. And I'm trying to break him every inch of the way in as I implode him with my force, okay? So you have the Luke Sao, the Chi Sao, and the Gor Sao. And all of these little principles, is too much to explain in this video, is what we start to infuse into street fights, into MMA fights, and it can be used in boxing, and it can be used in kickboxing. One last little thing, because like I said, if he's super duper fast and he goes to throw me in with a 2, bam! Again, I might not be able to do any of the other stuff that I did except cover. But covering in a way that, again, would allow me to be in a position that I couldn't get into in that moment. So he throws that punch and here's my Tan Sao. I just covered, I didn't get into position, but I also didn't get hit. Tan. Now the Tan, people think it's just this, and this is from the first form, but it's the action, it's the motion, it's what's actually happening with it. So when I come in, he throws that punch, boom! I'm doing this time, but it now gets me to that position that I need to execute. So I'm gonna throw the 2, and you just whoop, comb your hair and do that time to get into position. So I'm here and I, boom! There he goes. Now he's gonna get into position because I need to follow him. And boom, too late. And that's the beauty, that when he positions himself, if I'm gonna fight him, I gotta turn to fight him. But because he positioned himself, he has the advantage of unleashing whatever it is that he had planned. Anyway, we're gonna make more videos, but this guy right here, anyone training with him, I miss seeing him, by the way. Anyone training with him, just know that he is doing the authentic Wing Chun that I was taught from my father, my Sifu, who was taught by Duncan Leon, who was taught by Yip Man. This lineage is tight, it's crisp. Don't be fooled by the MMA, the kickboxing, the grappling, and all that other stuff, okay? As far as Wing Chun is concerned, what we have is authentic, and I'm talking about super duper authentic. Alrighty? Anyway, next time, looking forward to it. If you have anything to say, please.
Peace and love. It's your host, Coach Tsunami, with the general himself. You guys know what it is. Wing Chun Science family, baby.
Boom, let's go run and punch that baby. Boom.